Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. It's 9 o'clock here on Tuesday night. What is today? May the 5th. Yesterday was May the 4th. Be with you. May the 5th. Time for the 14First Alert Weather Show at 9. I'm watching your comments on the 14 News Facebook page. So, yeah, if you want to chime in a little bit, go right ahead, and I'll try to answer your questions. I'm real curious about how much rain you had. So if you have a rainfall report, I'd like to see those too. Hopefully, you've gotten a significant rainfall today. We've had about 6,500 here at the station. And what we're looking at is a couple more rounds of showers overnight tonight, and then clearing out by tomorrow evening and Thursday and Friday. And then we have another shot at rain late Friday night and early Sunday morning. So that kind of lays out the pattern here. We have more rain moving in right now, at least into southwest Indiana here, White County. I'll bet Jeff Miller out here in Savah is getting some decent rain. Let me turn the lightning strikes on. I don't think we've had any strikes here, at least not in the last several hours. We had some lightning in here earlier today around 3 o'clock at the station. And there have been a couple little cracks of lightning up there closer to Grayville. So yeah, you might hear some rumbles of thunder. No severe risk this evening, so that's a good thing. The temperatures around the area are steady in the low 50s. Except for Fairfield, already down to 47. That cold front will continue to sink in and generate rain and some wind. We've had winds of up to 25 miles per hour at Evansville. And a bigger view here on the radar, you still have a lot of rain yet to come through. Now, this is also kind of moving up to the northeast, but as that band shifts down toward the tri-state, we'll stand a chance of getting some more soaking rainfall overnight, just the kind you gardeners want out there, gentle over several hours to really soak into the drought-parched soil. As I said, no severe risk touching the tri-state this evening, just general thunder there in the brown. And basically, the model has done, I'd say, an admirable job of depicting how this would play out. I'm really curious to see the difference between what our models were showing for rainfall, 1.5 inches or so, versus what we actually get. But we were pretty much on pace this afternoon with that first ½ inch coming there before 6 o'clock. Going into Wednesday, Thursday, we clear out. Winds will shift to the south beginning Friday, and that'll help us warm back up as we get some sun in there and then a few clouds by the afternoon. Total rainfall from now going forward, another ½ inch or so on top of whatever you've had. That appears to be the model solution for what's coming in overnight. Our warmest temperature to look forward to now Saturday, 78 degrees. As I said, we may get a little rain late Friday night, and then Sunday early, and some of those showers may linger into the afternoon. Right now we stand at 52 degrees. We were down to 60 this morning, so 52 is our new low, and then 67 the high. The low graphic there updates at 4:45 and then at midnight each day, so it's still looking at this morning's, what was the low temperature as of 4 o'clock this afternoon. The temperature has cooled significantly, almost 20 degrees cooler out there today than it was yesterday. Our low was a little warmer than normal, at least the original low, and of course our high temp way off the pace there, 7 cooler than normal. And our high actually occurred at midnight. We were still coasting from that 80-degree temperature yesterday. For the practical purposes, our temperatures through the afternoon were generally in the upper 50s to around 60. Now, we only had recorded 0.4 inches of rain at Evansville Regional as of 4:45. However, here at the station, we picked up more than that, and you probably have too. So we'll have a full accounting of the rain tomorrow once it's stopped. By midnight, we can get you the accurate daily total. But it has been a good rain, certainly one we've been waiting for a while. That cold front is slowly moving to the southeast. It's actually passing the tri-state now, and then we get that cooler, drier air down from Canada to dry it out on Thursday. And by Friday, as high pressure builds here in the south, it'll begin to draw up warmer air off the Gulf. The GFS then bringing rain in late Friday night, and as I mentioned earlier, early into the afternoon on Sunday, Mother's Day. Farther down the line here, we're going to look at the European model. And first we'll check the GFS rainfall totals. Generally another inch of rain possible with those two events coming up Friday and Sunday. The European model also advertising very late rain Friday night and then clearing during the day Saturday with early morning showers on Sunday lingering into the afternoon. So GFS and European both pretty much in lockstep with how the weekend will play out. And then next week dry for Monday, Tuesday with more rain possible on Wednesday. And we'll see what the European has conjured for rainfall this time around. Generally another inch, so it's a little more generous with rainfall from this point going ahead. It's 47 for the low tonight and up to 62 for the high tomorrow. Mainly cloudy in the morning and then clearing in the afternoon. Over the next 7 days, our best chances for rain will occur late Friday night and again on Sunday, and then maybe by Wednesday next week too. And temperatures, now we're expecting things to kind of go the other way and start to go back above normal toward the 19th of May and wetter than normal too. So more rain in the pipeline. This is a sleepy Fred, according to Julie Alexander, our pet pick for tonight. That or Fred could care less what I'm preaching here from the weather pulpit. All right, let's have a look at your questions and concerns. And we will do that here. Oh, I tell you, my nose itches. You ever get that? Yeah, you don't want to see me scratching my nose here on streaming, but man, it can't be pollen. It's raining out there. All right, Suzanne Daly, good evening. All right, good evening, Suzanne. Glad to have you on. Jeff Miller, 4,500 since Savaw so far, but enjoying the blackberry winter. Yes, it is the blackberry winter, isn't it? Zach Seitz, any concerns for severe thunderstorms next week? Not that I see at this point. William Raleigh has had 3/4 of an inch of rain over by Bossy Field. Cheyenne Hammond says, hey. Maddox Riggs, day 6 of telling. Okay. I'm not going to read your joke here. You can, our people who are watching here on Facebook, you can click on Maddox Riggs' thing. You need to get your show. You can have a comedy weather show at 9 o'clock, and you probably get viewers, maybe more than I seem to be able to pull in here. Anyhow, all right, let's move ahead here. And, you know, one of the things that happened upstream of us yesterday and somewhat today, we had hail in the storms, some of the thunderstorms. And the reason we get hail, first off, we have to have a very low freezing level in those thunderstorms. That helps anyway. And secondly, and these again are just hail reports. I can click on them and show you some hail sizes here. Generally, most of them, like up there at Pana in Illinois, like 9/10 of an inch in diameter. I think we had a little hail there to the north of Effingham, or closer to Springfield, near Marrowbone in Moultrie County, 1-inch diameter hail. All right, so as you know, we can get hail in all sizes. It can be down to pea size and smaller, all the way up to golf ball and even larger than that in some of the really big supercell thunderstorms. And the way hail forms and why we are seeing hail in this round of storms is we have an ample supply of sub-freezing air. It's already cold coming down from Canada, and then when we go up in the atmosphere, the air can be well below zero. So we have super cooled water droplets that are getting blown around up here by the updraft in a thunderstorm. And as those are forced above the freeze line or freeze level, they enter into an environment where they then turn into an ice crystal. And as they move around, that ice crystal starts to put on layer after layer of ice. And this is why some hailstones, not all, but some kind of would resemble an onion if you cut them in half. Others are spiky, and those are ones that have developed in an intense thunderstorm, more intense thunderstorm, sometimes tornadic. So you have a lot of turbulence in there, and the hailstones are hitting each other and creating those spikes. But anyhow, with a normal old onion skin type hailstone, the size of it is directly related to the strength of the updraft. That is to say, the wind going up is supporting those hailstones bouncing around and gaining more ice. Eventually, the hailstone will get so much water on it, so much ice, it gets too heavy and it overcomes the updraft, and then gravity wins out and it crashes down to earth. And so the stronger the updraft, typically the larger the hail. And this is how, when we get a tornado watch or severe thunderstorm watch from the Storm Prediction Center, updraft strength is modeled, and we can at least infer to some extent what the largest hailstones might be, how big they would be based on those updraft speeds. And so if you put it on a diagram here, the typical hail that we get here in the tri-state usually is in this range. It's nickel, dime, penny, and then down to very small. Once you get to quarter-size hail, that's an inch in diameter, that is the criterion for severe hail. And then a severe thunderstorm warning would be issued. And it can go all the way up, some of these gigantic supercells can produce grapefruit-sized hail, nearly 4 inches in diameter. That, of course, is the outlier. That doesn't happen very often because we typically don't get 98-mile-per-hour winds in the updraft. But your thunderstorms that we have around here will routinely have 50 to 60-mile-an-hour updrafts in some of our worst scenarios, therefore those bigger hail sizes. So a little bit about that, and just a personal note, I was there. I was at the Storm Prediction Center back when it was called the National Severe Storms Forecast Center. It was in Kansas City on, I think, the 15th floor of the Federal Building. And I was there in 1990, I think it was 1990 or 91. I'd gone out there to do a piece, a story, for our severe weather special that year, and they were debating whether to change the hail criterion for a severe thunderstorm from 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And you've got to understand how the Weather Service, the government, the enterprise works. Somebody doesn't just wake up and say, all right, today it's an inch. It takes deliberation and science and data and more data and charts and graphs and consensus to come up with that change. But eventually it did happen, and the intent was twofold. One, it really appeared that 3/4 inch hail typically didn't cause much damage and wasn't impactful. Scary, yes, and it got people's attention. But the 1 inch threshold was determined to be the point at which you would start to get siding damage, roof damage, and things like that. And so that was issued or changed. And also we had just a raft of severe thunderstorm warnings that didn't verify where the hail wasn't, 3/4 of an inch. And so the thinking was if you raise the criterion to an inch diameter hail, you would have fewer false alarm severe thunderstorm warnings. I know that's a really long, dry story. The funny part of it was I had to shoot everything myself, and back in those days you carried a camera that was like a brick bat. It was, weighed 20 pounds, and then you had a big tape deck on your side, and you wore a strap and a battery belt and all this stuff you had to carry. And I had to lug all that stuff up to the 15th floor and set it up, and then get some poor scientist. I actually talked to Fred Osby, who was the director at that time. I got him. But right before me, it was WRC's turn from Washington, D.C., and they had a cameraman, a sound man, a field producer, and they had Bob Ryan, who was the big cheese in weather in not only in Washington, but just in general. He's very distinguished weather guy. So he did his interview, and then he leaves, and then, here comes Hooterville. But it was very gracious. He gave me great sound bites, and I've never forgotten that experience. So a little backstory on hail size criterion for severe weather. Okay. Jeff Miller wants to know about gorilla-sized hail. Haven't heard of any, but it's only Tuesdays, so you'll be the first to know. We'll probably stream it live here on the First Alert Weather Show at 9. That's all I have for you tonight in the Science Corner and my long dry stories. So we're going to throw you back here to whatever's on the stream, and I will see you on 14 News at 10 o'clock.